Hi, Cheryl. How are you? Good morning.
Morning, and thank you so much for having me here. I'm well, thanks.
Thank you for coming. So Cheryl is the sleep coach, correct? And you believe in a very gentle way of helping babies, toddlers, and adults as well with their sleep. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm so excited to speak with you about sleep and everything that's related to it as well. And I know it's a topic that's really like occupying most of us, and we most kind of like thinking about it, worrying about it, and it's something that's always in our mind. So, welcome and thank you for joining us at For Mums.
Thank you again. And I hope that there's some questions that come up. But in the meantime, we'll talk basically about the importance of sleep and how it affects so many people. So we have this great belief that we all just sleep. And it's very hard for new mums to actually understand that a baby just doesn't automatically go to sleep.
Mhm.
So when people are pregnant, they talk before pregnant on how to get pregnant and what to do when you're pregnant, and then how to have your baby and how to breastfeed and all these things that everybody talks about. Okay. But so the important thing for us to know as new mums that babies don't automatically go to sleep. And very often, out of pure love, we take that ability away of them being able to actually go to sleep themselves. So under 4 months, we always do whatever it takes for the baby to go to sleep and for mum to have some sleep. The first most important thing is to remember that if you, the mum or dad, is not well, your baby does pick up on that. Now, when I say not well, I'm talking about mental health. So if we're struggling, put your hand up and say, I need a bit of help.
Mhm.
So early days, we do whatever it takes for everybody to get into some sort of little rhythm that it makes it easier for them. After 4 to 5 months or 5 to 6 months, we're able to have a little more of a routine and start teaching our children to self-settle. Routine is very important. Babies, just the same as us and adults, we need to know what's coming next. So what we like to do is know that if our baby is on solids, now at the moment I'll just talk about evening routine. If our baby is on solids, we'll start solids at about 5:15. Usually by 5, 6 months, the majority of babies are having solids. And just a note on that, always start a new food at the beginning or at lunchtime, just in case your
Yeah,
baby is
I find
allergic
that
to
it's
it.
very, very useful to do that as well.
Yes. So we don't start a new food at night because we don't want to be up with the baby if it's allergic or doesn't agree with the baby. So we'll start dinner at about 5:15. We then will bath our baby. If you don't bath every day, there is absolutely no problem with that, but we put pajamas on.
Mhm.
After our pajamas, we then have milk, whether it's breastfeed or bottle feed. It's immaterial. We have milk at that stage. We then go up to the room, or if you're in the room, that's fine. We read a book for the baby and then close curtains, white noise, and switch off the light and put the baby in bed. So the important thing I want you to note is that I said bottle or breastfeed, then book. So what we want to try and do is not feed our babies to sleep.
So you
So
mean
that's
giving them the bottle and then putting them to bed with the bottle, for example, and then
or putting them to sleep sucking.
yeah.
So we put it when they're tired, we give them the bottle and they fall asleep. That becomes a sleep association. So whatever we do to help settle our baby becomes a sleep association. Say again?
And then it comes like a habit that they have. They're getting
Yes, yes. Then they need that to be able to go to sleep. So when they wake up during the night, they call you to come back and do what you did to get them to sleep. Now, I did mention only after 4 to 5 months. Prior to that, if you feed your baby to sleep, that's fine. It doesn't cause any sleep association. The reason being, their brain develops that little bit more between 4 and 5 months. So they're always in a light sleep previous to that. So a sleep association can be anything. It can be rocking them, patting them, jumping on a ball, getting them to sleep, pushing them in the pram, whatever it is that gets them to sleep, they then need it again when they wake up. So we try gently to ease away from that. And that's when we do sleep training. And as you mentioned earlier, my technique is a gentle technique. So we never leave your baby alone to cry. So there's 3 basic sleep training techniques. One is cry it out, CIO, which is we put the baby in and we walk out and we say, sort of, see you in the morning, which is really hard for a parent to do. The other one is controlled crying, where you put the baby in, you help them, you walk out, say for 2 minutes, their baby cries, you go back in, you pat, you help them, you go out, say for 4 minutes, and you do that. That's also really hard, I feel, because it's hard to be outside and hear your baby cry for 4 minutes. And if you're not timing it, it feels like an hour, not 4 minutes. It like tears at your heart. So the way that I do it is we constantly with the baby. If the baby's crying, we'll help, we'll pat, and we ease off on the patting so the patting doesn't become the sleep crutch. And we do that over time. Teaching the baby, we will always be there. So I move you away over time so the baby knows you're there. And if they need help, you get up, help them, and move away. And over a period when the baby's ready and you're ready, we eventually move you out the room. Always using positive words for the baby, like, shh, you're okay, mummy's here, or daddy's here, whoever's doing it.
Yeah, I'm finding that talking with your kids is really helpful and making them, this reassurance as well. Make them realize that you're here. You're not going anywhere. I think they're very smart and very intellectual, and they understand not only your words, but as well the tone of your voice, those reassurance, And I see it as well with my toddlers. Now I have this phase of fears, and there is always like a dinosaur or a big bad wolf or someone in the room. And I'm finding that when they're getting in that state and they're a bit scared, then they always want to come to your room and look for this reassurance. And I have one question from our audience, and someone asking, what can you do about it when a child is coming to your bed, and how you putting them back, you're not putting them back, how are you managing the situation?
Okay, so that's a really good question. And at the moment, I'm dealing with a lot of toddlers. I don't know why it just goes like that, but at the moment, I really have a lot of clients with toddlers. So the important thing is routine, number 1. Number 2, guidelines. Nobody can cope without guidelines. If we give a free rein, they don't know what to do with it. So what I'm saying is, we say bedtime, you've got to go in bed. No, I want this, I want that. Now, you've got a child that is fearful of the big bad wolf, whatever. So there's a few little tricks that I do and I tell people, and it's amazing how it helps. You get a water bottle with a spray, and you say to the child or the children, if there's two of them, you go and use this magic spray, which sprays away all whatever they say. Now, we need to be careful. If they're scared of dinosaurs, we don't want to say to them, spray this for animals and dinosaurs, because we're putting another thought in their mind. Yeah. So we only use what they are using. So if it's dinosaurs, you say, take this and spray, and that gets the dinosaurs away. And you put it down, or you take it out with you, and you reassure them that the dinosaurs have gone. They've got rid of them. Or the other thing that I do, if it's something else, you'll take a feather duster and you'll dust things and let them do it, so they are actually cleaning the room from whatever is bothering them. Yeah. And it's amazing how it works. So what you then say is, remember, we've got rid of them, they've gone to their home, or whatever it is. When a toddler comes to your room, we escort them straight away back to their room. We don't want them sleeping in your bed. So we don't pick them up. We don't really hold their hand. We help them by just touching their back. They must learn.
Them as well.
Say that again.
You reassure them as well when you're doing
While you're going, you're talking to them. If they're extremely distressed, definitely hug them, hold them, talk to them. Yeah. But they need to go back to their room, to their bed. Okay, your bed is for you and your partner, or for you alone. It's your sanctuary. They must know that their bed is their bed, and it's not for you to lie in. Okay, so you can sit on the floor to reassure them, but not in their bed.
What I really like to do is I love to read books on my 5-year-old bed. We're reading some books, and then we're going reading stories. I'm just inventing stories on my 3-year-old, and then I'm tucking them in, telling them good night. And we usually put like a fairy light in the room, and I'm telling them that I just invited the fairies because they love fairies and mermaids, you know. Yeah. I invited the fairies to the room so they will protect them and
look after them.
Yeah, and that's really helping, because when we're doing this ritual, they're not waking up that often at night. They're not coming to my bed. They don't have, you know, those scary moments, or feel more secure and safe.
That's really a wonderful idea. And there's various different, you know, dynamics that you can put to that, or people can put to that. And it's really a good idea, because we want them to feel secure and safe. And in my technique of teaching them to sleep and knowing we're there, we don't have any separation anxiety. And that is another issue that we like to work on at the same time. So when we're doing any sort of sleep training, or as you say, helping them to sleep and stay asleep, we always want them to feel secure and know that we are there if they need them. There is no separation anxiety, which children go through at various different ages. And the important thing is, when they are going through that separation anxiety or a different state, we don't want to fall into any trap and then get stuck with something we can't get out of. In other words, sitting with them all the time, or lying in their
Time
bed with them all the time, or them coming to your bed, odd things like that. It's so easy to fall into a trap. We just want to be mindful of that.
And I think, saying that as well, sometimes it's like the easiest way for us to do as parents, because we getting to that stage of going to sleep where we, overtired, we had a long day. It's that time that we just want to go to our bed and,
And sleep. Yeah.
exactly. And I think that
Yes,
it's very important as well to do some things for us during the day that will give us
definitely.
extra, energy. So we will be able to get to that time and we'll be able to cope better. Because
Yes.
we care
And the
about
thing
that.
is that sometimes it's short-term pain for long-term gain.
Mm,
So we go through the fact that we do have to stay with them a little bit rather than take them to our bed, because for a couple of nights we will do that where it would just be easier to put them in bed. But then in the long term, you don't sleep because they kick you and they do things
yeah.
like that. And an important thing to know is everybody goes through different stages. And unfortunately, there's so much information overload. So what I do is I often find that I get an email from somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning, or it'll come at 4 or whatever time. And I know that the baby's been screaming and the mother is so desperate that she's Googling or
Yeah.
whatever it is and sends the thing. You're not alone. Go make sure that you get professional help and correct help. And whatever you do is okay as long as you're consistent. If you do one thing tonight, another thing tomorrow night, go back to the first, your child, toddler, baby, adult, doesn't know what you expect from them.
Yeah.
So whether somebody else says it's wrong what you're doing, you do what's right for you, but consistently.
Yes. And I think, saying that as well, find the rhythm that works for you and your child. Whatever
Yes,
works for you and your child and
is right.
helping you, yeah, that's the right thing. Don't go and
Yes,
Google for everything and don't search. And like you said, if you really need, go seek some professional advice, send us an email, a question, ask, and as well find what they really need and what you need.
yes.
And saying that, I have another question. How to make day sleeps longer? I know that.
Okay, I need to know roughly what age, because that makes a big difference. Some babies are cat nappers,
Mhm.
and my advice to people that have cat nappers, try for 5 or 10 minutes to try and get your baby back to sleep. If after 5 or 10 minutes, which believe me will seem like an hour, but for 5 or 10 minutes they don't go back to sleep, pan it, pick the baby up, and when the baby shows tired signs, you then will put them back down, because you can battle for an hour to get your baby back to sleep, or half an hour, and then they only give you 5 or 10 minutes. You frustrated, the baby's frustrated, and nobody's happy. So
Yeah.
if you
Y-
can't get your baby back to sleep, pick it up. Instead of having 3 naps, it'll have 4. Or instead of 2, it'll have 3. So go with the babies. Cat napping can go on till 8 months.
mhm.
So don't stress. Just work with your baby. And in the process, enjoy the time you have with your baby.
Yeah, I think that's very important, especially when they are in this age. And as well, I think there are many moms that worrying about if my baby getting enough sleep. Do you have anything to say about that? How can we know?
If What is very important, your baby will not give you good night sleeps if they're not having good day naps.
Mhm.
So you need good day naps in order to have good night's sleep. So do the best you can to get your baby to nap in the day. Now, an important point for you to know is day and night sleeps on different sides of the brain.
Mhm.
So what you do in the day, other than getting your baby to nap, will not affect the routine we have for night. Okay, so we need to have naps in the day, do whatever it takes to get those naps, and we work on good sleep at night. When we've got that night sleep right, we then can work on the day. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so sleep makes sleep. In other words, I'm sure you've heard that saying, sleep makes sleep. At this point, I would like to make everybody aware that mums or dads, if you're not okay, we need to work on you. You know that saying where when you're in an aeroplane, we first put the mask on you and then the baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so please, if you're struggling, you're not struggling alone. There's a lot of people that are having problems, and there's lots of people that are happy to help. And we have this forum, which is amazing for you to set up for all you people to please put your hand up and say, is this right? Should I be doing that? You're getting the right people answering you. So it's not a Facebook page where everybody's giving their own advice. Two things for you to remember. Your baby is a little person. It has its own personality and its own temperament. You can have 5 children and all 5 have different personalities and temperaments.
And different way of going to sleep as well.
Yes, so that's why what works for this person may not work for you. And that is why when I do a plan for you, I have your child's personality and temperament down pat because I've asked questions about the baby. And that's what's important. Some babies are sensitive to light. Some babies are sensitive to noise. Your other child can go to sleep with everything banging. Whatever it is, just remember your neighbor doesn't have the same personality child as you. So we don't have a robot, we have a little person.
Yeah, and that's why it's really important as well. Everything you're hearing, like wake up windows or have certain routines. Not everything will be good for your child, and it might
Just like
work
that.
for one,
Yeah,
but it might not work for the second one.
100%. 100%.
And I can see as well for my kids, like my oldest, she's a very good sleeper. She always slept through noise, everything, and even
Yes.
my second one, no way. The room needs to be very quiet, dim lights, not noise, every little thing will wake her up. So it's really good to get to know them as well.
Yes, yes. And it's interesting. You give birth to these babies and you expect them to just be the same, and they're totally different, totally.
Yeah.
So we need to look at each baby, each personality. Some babies are serious, some babies are active, some babies just sit and are happy just to look. So it's very important to know the baby's temperament and personality. So yes, there's lots of questions, and there's basically answers to just about everything.
Yeah. And I want to tap into something you just said about us as parents not coping. And I know that many moms as well might experience some insomnia, so they can't go to sleep well, or they're really struggling and they're waking up from every little noise. And it's something that just stick with them. Do you have any recommendation for moms that's struggling to have a good quality sleep?
You know, there's few things. You know, is the baby sleeping through? Is the baby in your room? If you only have one room and it's got to be like that, there's no problem. But maybe put white noise on, which blocks the baby out. Babies make so much noise when they sleep. You actually can't believe it. So is it because the baby is keeping you up? Is it because you're struggling with maybe working and your baby and doing the washing
Struggling. Yeah.
and you're just generally struggling with life? Is it that? Is it because you are a little bit depressed because from being this powerful woman at work where everything went according to plan, we suddenly have this little person that's absolutely gorgeous but does its own thing and will not do what you. That is a big reality check.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really because you have a little bit of postnatal depression, which could be because of lack of sleep? Whatever it is, we need to address why you're struggling. And sleep and losing your appetite and not wanting to go out and not being interested in the things you were is a little red flag for us. Now, even if it's not you, it may be a friend of yours that you've noticed. And it may be a good idea to make them aware of it, because don't we all try and pretend that everything's okay?
Perfect. Yeah.
You know, like, which mask are we picking up to put on today? You
Yeah.
know, that lady looks too beautiful. She always is, you know, dressed nice with a smile on her face and everything's perfect. But we really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So don't be fooled by that person that looks just perfect and everything's okay. They too could be struggling. So what am I saying? I want you to enjoy your baby. If something's not 100% right, let's look at it and see how we can fix it. If it's just a simple thing of getting and teaching your baby to sleep, it makes such a difference. I just want to bring a point and at this stage where people phone me, and before COVID, I used to go into the home. Now we do it on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
I pick up so much from that consultation. And from that first phone call, when they phone me, before we get to Zoom, I can hear the anxiety and the tension in their voice. When we're on Zoom, you often find she'll say something and the partner will correct her or say something else. A week later, when I speak to them, it's like talking to two different people. They're in tune, they're together, they're happy, they're smiling. The baby's starting to sleep, they getting sleep. It changes your whole world.
Yeah.
So don't struggle through. You don't have to, you know. That whether it's your mental health, whether it's your baby that's not sleeping, whether it's you, whatever it is, you know, just send an email and say, what should I do?
Yeah, I think it's a very important message, and I think it's very important, to ask for help and go out there and really seek the advice. And from my experience, there was a few things that really helped me as a mom, and one of them was at the beginning on during that 4 months period to sleep when my baby sleeps during the
Yes.
day. That
Yes.
was very helpful. And I remember when
Such good advice.
my mother-in-law told me that at the beginning, I looked at her and I was like, no way, I need to do the washing and make food. And, I was thinking about the house and everything. And when I did it with my third child, took me 2 kids in order to understand this. I,
You were a different person.
yes, I managed to cope during the day. I managed to give my kids what they needed. I was a better version of myself.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
second thing that really helped me is yoga nidra. And I think that it's one of the things that when I'm going to sleep and I'm putting it on and I'm getting that really good quality of sleep, even though it was just like 2-3 hours if my baby woke up, or if it was 5-6 hours if she woke up a bit later, but at least I had a good quality of sleep. So finding this, like, either meditation or, like you said, white noise or whatever it is that you can put in the background to help you have a better sleep at the beginning until you're waking up, if you're still waking up at night, I think it's very important. It was very useful for me. And a lot of self-care. Like, really give yourself those windows during the day when you're taking care of yourself. And that's, I think, a really important thing for everyone to do.
Yes. So just to finish off, another important thing on that point
Yeah.
is a lot of people tell you your baby must sleep in their cots in the day. Get them used to that. A lot of sleep coaches want the babies sleeping in their cot. I don't believe in that, because you have to get out.
Yeah.
If you get cabin fever, you start resenting your baby. You start resenting your partner. You start resenting your friends that are out. Get out. Go and have coffee with them. Go for a walk. Let the baby sleep, on the run. It's
Anyway, yeah.
okay. It's really okay. Even if the baby has one nap in the cot in the day, that's fine. Just make sure that you do get out and see people and interact.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very important. Even if you had, sometimes, it's kind of like everything is lagging. And during the day, you think, should I ask someone to go out or shouldn't? Just, text, see what happened, try
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and give it a go, which I think it's very, very
Okay.
important too.
So on my website, which is Cheryl the Sleep Coach, there's lots of articles, tips, things like that. So please go ahead, check it, see, you've got my email, you'll get it off there. And any questions, I'm only too happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Cheryl.
And
And I think from today, what I got is that the most important thing is to take care of yourself as a parent, and as well find the rhythm for you and your kids, whatever works for both of you, and seek advice if you really finding yourself that things are getting too much and they're affecting your relationship, yourself, and everything in the house, which I think it's really important to go and seek that advice.
good.
Um,
So good luck, everybody. Enjoy your baby. Give them a big hug every night and just treasure every moment you have with them.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.